So hi, it's me again, Bebe from Planty of Fish.
Did you miss me?
I really appreciate you spending your time watching my content, even though they are kind of random sometimes. What are we talking about today? We're talking about plants you can find in big box store, and you should definitely wait to buy them elsewhere.
Don't forget to hit subscribe and follow me on Instagram.
This was what I found in Lowe's the other day. It's a Anthurium crystallinum, this size, and I kind of measure the largest leaf on this plant. It is roughly around 15 inches.
This is huge! That's what she said.
For that size of a leaf, it's not a small crystallinum. From what I know, crystallinum tend to grow pretty fast. Also, it's not very hard to grow either. So it's not really like a big deal to find a crystallinum this big. But however, for the price, $29.98, I believe that's how much it costs. Hold on, I have my notebook. My handy dandy notebook here again. Anthurium crystallinum, huge. I put a huge in the note. It is, I believe, a 8-inch pot. The price was $26.98, even better. There's some little research on Etsy that I put up here. For a juvenile plant, they were charging over $30, a 4-inch $42, and a 6-inch $90. For a crystallinum this size, you're not gonna get anything under $50. It's usually $50 and up, or even in the 60s or 80s. So, and also there were 2 plants in that pot. And also the plant looks really healthy with these huge leaf that looks almost like pristine and perfect without much damage to the leaf. In Anthurium in general, the leaves can suffer damage in transit pretty easily. These plants are of this size, so the shipping process probably is a little even trickier. However, they were in this condition, so I'm pretty impressed. So I saw several of these plants in Lowe's. I don't know if I just got lucky when I went there. They just happened to finish a batch of restocking, because I went back again the second day. There were only 1 left this time. Because I don't believe big box store tend to have these frequently. But we don't know, maybe in 2026 that's going to be a trend. We're gonna have to wait and see.
After looking up some pictures online, I'm starting to doubt if this is actually a pure crystallinum or if it's crystal mag. They look similar enough, and also price-wise, I think they're in the similar range, so I don't really think that matters. And it actually excites me to know that this possibly could be a crystal mag, because I've always really liked the Wild Fern's huge crystal mag luxuriant hybrid. There's no way to locate any of that type of hybrid on the internet, but now I might have a chance of pollinating and cross my own, because I do have a luxuriance radicant hybrid.
The next one I want to talk about is actually a frequent flyer. I'm going to talk about a few frequent flyers now that we got the huge crystallinum out of the way. So when I mean frequent flyer are these plants used to be rare, but now they are a lot more accessible, but still kind of on the harder to get spectrum. In terms of the price, usually a little bit up there if you want a plant that's bigger than a starter plant. And then if you consider shipping costs and anything associated with that, then the price will go up. But these plants have been consistently showing up in big box store like Lowe's, Home Depot, Costco, Walmart. Frequent flyer number 1 is Taikon. Yes, this is the millionth time I mentioned this plant, Thai constellation. Taikon used to be so hard to get, but now a medium-sized Taikon is pretty easy to get your hands on. So in Lowe's, it was being sold at $29.98 for a pot this size. I don't know how big the pot is, but they labeled it as 1.4 quart. I think that's the measurement they're using.
No, it's quart, as in quarter. You dum-dum.
Just from looking at it, I think the pot is about a 6 to 7 inch, give or take. But the plant itself is a fenestrated plant, so it's already starting to mature, but not as mature as something like mine. So it doesn't have a secondary fenestration yet, and the leaf size is about, I would say, like this big. So it's like a medium size. For the price, it's not too bad. However, there are 2 things I want you to take into consideration if you were to get a Taikon from a big box store. Number 1 is Taikon grows very slowly. They are definitely known to be a slow grower in the Monstera family. You cannot compare it to a regular green form Monstera deliciosa because it's not going to grow that fast due to the variegation, less chlorophyll like we talked about in other videos. All I'm saying is keep in mind that even though it's a lot cheaper, even though like the Tycon I got was much more expensive from a nursery store, however, to grow this plant to that size, it's going to take you probably years. So the time and effort and also the patience it takes themselves are investment, and they're not small investment. The second thing to keep in mind is not just for the Tycon. What I'm talking about is as soon as you buy a plant from a big box store, I always say repot right away. Right away, you heard me right. I don't care if you think that's gonna disturb the roots. I don't care if that's too much. I don't care if you say,
oh, you should leave it for a few days, let it acclimate to the environment.
no. If it's from a big box store, repot that right away, okay? Otherwise, you are gonna be paying. I mean, you already pay for the plant, but yeah, you're gonna be paying for, what am I trying to say? You're gonna have a price to pay. Additional price to pay. What I mean is Tycon is definitely susceptible to root rot more than a lot of other plants. It's more reason to repot it right away. Later on in this video, I'm going to show you a clip of my repotting one of the plants I will be mentioning too as a frequent flyer in big box store.
Okay, seriously, who are you really saving all this empty space for?
And I'm going to explain a little bit more. But right now, I just want you to know the reason is because big box store always have the worst kind of potting mix for plants to actually thrive. You have to remember where those plants come in. They come from wholesalers, and wholesalers grow these plants in huge batch in a greenhouse, pretty much ideal environment.
That's what I was saving the spot for.
So these potting mix might work there, but most of the time they don't work in your home environment. The type of potting mix I'm talking about is that very, very dense peat moss with just a little bit of small size perlite mix in there.
Peat moss is made from partially decomposed sphagnum moss and other organic plant matter that accumulates in waterlogged oxygen-poor environments. And perlite is a lightweight white material made from volcanic rock. It is often mixed into soil to improve drainage and airflow.
So they try to add a little bit of extra drainage, but at the end of the day, it is a very, very dense moisture retaining potting mix. That's why a lot of times when you get a plant from big box store to home, you're gonna see the potting mix, the soil in it is completely soaking wet. And also people in these stores don't really know how to take care of plants most of the time. That's why I say when you bring these plants home, you definitely need to repot them to save them from root rot. In this case, Tycon especially, keep that in mind. Next plant that I've been seeing so much is Philodendron Torden. And I can't help but getting one myself. Well, this is not my first time getting this plant. Philodendron Torden, my friend. My good old friend, he's back from the dead. Okay, not technically. So I've had this plant 4 times before, but I failed miserably every single time. First time, it was really bad timing. Okay, it was on me. I placed the order right before I was about to go on a trip. So when I came back, the plant died. And I think, till this day, I'm still not sure if it was due to underwatering or the plant came in already had some dry rot issue. Whatever it was, that plant was never given the fair chance, so it died. It was a teeny tiny baby plant. And the second time, after I came back from the trip, I tried to place an order again because I'm like, okay, this time I'm gonna do it right. I'm gonna get this plant, I'm gonna raise it right. However, for whatever reason, I rotted it completely. And the leaves just starting to fall one after another. I don't know what's with this plant and me. It's just, we just don't get along. Like I have the same potting mix I use for all my other plants. It is chunky. I think it has good airflow around the roots. I'm not sure, maybe I watered it too much. Maybe it was already suffering from some sort of bacterial fungal infection. I will never know. When things started going downhill with that plant, that was the same time I saw Torden in Lowe's for the first time. And when I saw the price, what was the price? Price for a Torden. Oh, come on, where are you? Oh, come on. Torden, okay, sorry. It was $7.98. That's the same price I got this one for. So I saw $7.98 for a Torden. Because around that time, I started to see this plant popping up in some local nurseries as well, like other type of plant stores. They mark this plant way up. I'm talking about like over $40. It's like, okay, I get it. It's a very cool, unique plant. However, it's really not that rare. It's not like hard to get. On Etsy, I think the price is slightly better, but it's still kind of in the mid 20s or low 30s, something like that. But when I saw this in Lowe's for $7.98, yeah, $7.98, that time I got 2 of them. I'm like, I'm gonna grow a big plant. I'm gonna grow a really big tortum, or if something bad happens, I have a backup. Well, you know what happened when you have backup? Somehow, when you have backup, the universe knows that you are ready for failure. And usually, the universe will give you double failure. Double failures. And that's what happened to me. Both of them died from root rot again. And this time I was kind of suspicious that the plants were already rotting when they were in Lowe's, hence the dense potting mix. Because when they got home, like I said, they were soaking wet. I repotted them both right away. However, I was kind of smelling a little bit.
Crazy world, a lot of smells.
So possibly it was already on the way to root rot. You can't blame me for that. There's only so much a girl can do when somebody else does the plant dirty like that. Anyway, so that was my dark history with philodendron tortum. But this plant, like I said, is a frequent flyer in the big box store. It popped up again. Like right now, they have a huge batch of these just laying around for you to grab. And a lot of times, it makes me sad because so many people don't care about, oh, my light just went out because low battery, whatever. I think I need a new light. That one's not really doing much because now the light went out and I still pretty much look the same. Oh well, maybe I don't need it. Anyway, so I feel bad for this plant because a lot of people don't really care for it. I don't know, like it is a very interesting looking plant, right? It almost looks like a little palm tree. I'm gonna show you here that it has a new growth. The most interesting thing about this plant is when the new leaf emerges, it looks like alien fingers. When it opens, I think it opens kind of like one finger at a time, kind of like that, all kinds of weird. When it finally starts to open, I might take a little time lapse of something. That would be cool. Yeah, so philodendron tortum, if you want this plant, if it's on your wish list, if you want to save a few bucks, wait for your local big box store to start carrying these plants. $7.98, that's it. And I really hope this time I'm doing it right. So far, it's doing good. All right, we just did a little time traveling. And here is me trying to repot this philodendron. Oh, where is it? We're gonna repot this guy right here. Let me just show you actually. In these, Jesus. They have this wick thing they always use in these Lowe's planter. Supposed to be self-watering, but the thing is, your problem is not watering. Your problem is your mix. Do you see how dense the potting mix is? It's pretty much all, yeah, it is definitely all peat moss and some perlite, like some finer size perlite. I am going to just try to get this off. I have a trash can here. Unfortunately, I am not gonna keep any of these soil mix because I just don't know if there's any issue, things like fungal stuff, or I don't know. I'm just weird about the potting mix that comes from big box store. I almost never keep them. Sometimes I keep a little and mix them into my own potting mix, but then makes me question those few times I did that. Did they actually kill some of the plants that I killed? Or am I just looking for excuses here? This one was not too hard to loosen from the soil. Oh, you know what I found? They almost always have this. You can't really see it, but I can feel it. There is a cylinder shape here, which is this, yeah, and then I can feel it through the texture. The texture of this part is different than the rest of the potting mix. It's that, I'll find a name and put it here. That thing, it's like a plug they use for seedling, just like those mash plugs. but this one's slightly different. I don't know if they cause any issue, but I like to always get them off my plant's root system. I like to free them, okay? I'll give you all the freedom that you need to grow healthy and big this time. And what do you think? I think this is pretty good in terms of getting rid of majority of the potting mix from the root system. Maybe I'll get a little bit more off, then we'll call it a day and start potting it. Let me go get a pot and we will continue. I'm back with a 4-inch orchid pot. I think these ones are called orchid pot. Like the way you can tell that they're designed for orchid is because they are usually skinnier, taller, and along the side they have these air holes because orchids roots like a lot of airflow. Like I'm not really into orchids at the moment and I don't really have much knowledge of them, but as far as I know, that's what these are designed for. Orchid pots. I like these because they are very good for having a little bit extra space for the roots to grow downwards. Also, I like using them for semi-hydro setup. And another thing I'm gonna use that I didn't use last time is this right here. I'm doing my Asian squat right now, can you tell? Asian squatting and repotting. So this is what I use when I repot plant in a less ideal situation like now. Like I definitely stressed out the root system a lot, and in order to help it throughout the transplant shock, like I can't prevent it, it's definitely gonna get transplant shock. To help it along the way, I'm gonna use this called beneficial microbes. First of all, grab some good old chunky mix. First, I'm gonna line the bottom third with a lot of chunky mix. Maybe that's too much because the size of this root ball is actually pretty decent and long. It extends downward quite a lot. So maybe about that much. Let's see. That should be fine. I think we can do with slightly less. Okay, now that should be good. I just sprinkle some inside the pot first. You wonder what it looks like. They have different colors, but this one is almost like a salt or sugar, like a crystal type of texture. Let me put this in. Sprinkle on the roots. And a little bit here, turn it around, a little bit here, turn it around one more time. There we go. I think we managed to keep most of the roots intact without pulling too much off during the, discarding of the unhealthy potting mix process. As I'm putting in the potting mix from my own batch, I will keep on tapping it or doing this to make sure everything is going downwards to reach all the empty spots in there. Trust me, during repot, your plants love a good spanking. But make sure to not make the same mistake I made with some other repots before, is you don't want to bury this section of the plant. I believe it's called the crown. Basically what it is it's above the root ball where the stems are. So you don't want to bury the crown. That's going to cause rot, and it has happened to me in some of the repots I did before with certain Hoyas or even some pothos. Hi, it's okay. I'm almost done. Okay. That was Plant Daddy with my little offspring. One of my little goblins. I think I'm gonna use some type of support with it this time. I didn't really do it the last few times. I don't think the support had anything to do with why it died, but I think I've watched many videos this time before I got this plant. And yeah, I'm just using a random support. So make sure to try to avoid the roots. And I'm just gonna put it in here. I used a darker color to make it easier to disguise it. Also, clips designed for orchid to stabilize my tall unruly plants. I don't think we need more than one right now.
Last thing I want to do is actually to water this guy in. Where's my water? Okay, watering time. Just want to make sure I water it in. Have, you know, water draining from the bottom. When it start coming out of the bottom, I like to add in a little bit more water because these are fresh soil. Want to make sure the water reach every inch of it. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it. I finished repotting this plant, and I strongly suggest you, again, always repot the plants you buy from big box store for your own good.
Next one is Alocasia Black Velvet. Alocasia Black Velvet, I don't know quite yet if it's going to become a frequent flyer. The one I have here is not from big box store. I had it from before. It's still, you know, growing, not that big, not that impressive, but it's my Black Velvet. And it is currently working on a new growth. This will be the first new growth since I got this one. I wouldn't say Black Velvet is the fastest grower, but definitely it's worth the wait because I definitely really like this kind of velvety dark foliage. I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's not my Alocasia collection video, but yeah, Alocasia Black Velvet is another one. And again, this is one of those plants currently in Lowe's. They're having rows and rows of them. Like, I've been seeing them every single time I go there, and it's in pretty huge quantity too. I think I'm going to put all the alocasias together and kind of talk about them that way because alocasias in big box store is kind of a thing. They do pop up very frequently, but not always the same kind. And actually, this is a fun one. It is Alocasia Nebula. The first time I saw a Alocasia Nebula in the store, I thought it was a silver dragon because at the time I wasn't very good at recognizing different species of Alocasia, especially when it comes to silver dragon. I've never seen one in person. So when I saw that one, I'm like, oh cool, I found a silver dragon. But it's still very cool because it's a nebula. So we're moving on to the next one. It is actually a philodendron. We have a few philodendron to talk about here. I'm gonna put all the philodendrons together too. The first one is Alchoco Red. This plant has been showing up in big box store throughout the years from time to time. Not every single time I go there they will carry this one. However, it's pretty frequent. I say at least once a month or a couple times a month you will see a batch of them, and you know they will sell out and then they won't have it for a while. I think every time they restock plants, when you see they have a huge batch of plants coming in, I tend to see at least a few of these. They were in Lowe's for like how much? $19.98 for a 1.4 quad size pot. I personally don't have experience growing this one. I think this one is a climber, if I remember correctly, and I am somebody that's been trying to keep my moss pole to a minimum amount. Currently I have 2. It's already more than I want. Ideally I want to just have 1 moss pole. And the next one, you also will see this in big box store very frequently, just in different forms. It's the silver sword. So silver sword recently has been showing up in this kind of form on a cocoa pole. So they're bigger size. Like this one I am showing here is $39.98 for a 3.2 quad. I don't know if that's the equivalent to 8 inches because based on what I've seen, it looks pretty similar to the 8-inch pod. So the price is slightly higher for that size pod, $39.98. And sometimes I've also seen silver sword in the smaller pot size and not on the pole, in the like I think 4-inch or 6-inch. Yeah, I've seen it in all different kinds of pot sizes, and sometimes they're just, you know, free growing. Sometimes they're on this cocoa pole. But regardless, it is a very frequently spotted plant in big box store. Pretty much every time I went there to check out what they have this one. It's the Gloriosum. I almost picked up one once, but like I said, I do not want to keep a moss pole, and Gloriosum is another philodendron that you definitely need to grow on a moss pole to enjoy its beauty. I believe it's also velvety, and they still have a lot of them in the store currently, and this is one you definitely do not have to worry about missing out on because you're gonna see it every single time you go there. I guarantee you. Speaking of cocoa pole, I saw Monstera adansonii on cocoa pole today. It was large. It was a I don't really remember. No, I didn't check on the price for this one, but I believe it's one of those 8 inches pot. So like I would say the price, my guess is anywhere between 20 to 40. So it's probably not going to be higher than that. And the adansonii is something also you're going to see in the big box store very, very frequently. Just sometimes they comes in a trailing, like a hanging pot in the trailing form, and this time I saw them, a huge batch of them in this form, like climbing up a cocoa pole. I wouldn't say climbing up because I feel like from these wholesalers, they probably just wrapped the the vine up the cocoa pole and call it a day. I don't believe the plant actually grew like that. It's probably just one of those hanging basket, and they changed it up a little bit to to make it more visually appealing maybe to some people. Another one that kind of follows the same formula is Epiperminum pinnata. Did I just say pinnata? Epiperminum pinnata, either albo or marble. I don't know which one it is. Yeah, so that one, I have seen it throughout the year as well. But this is another one that's not always going to be in the same form. I have seen it in this huge 8-inch
just keep swimming, just keep swimming
hanging pot for like probably $29. And then this time around I also saw this plant on a pole. Yeah, it was for $24.98 for the 1.4 quart this time when I saw it. Last time, I think it was an even bigger one. Yeah, it's one that came with one of those ceramic pot. In the big box stores, a lot of time they try to sell these pot together, the planter pot. The planter together with the plant, and that one was 29 something. So yeah, this plant, I think it used to be kind of rare, but now it's everywhere. And then, however, I still see this plant being sold as little cuttings or starter plant on Etsy for not that cheap. So I don't know what's the deal here, because this one is very, very accessible now. If you just wait a little bit, you're gonna see it in your local big box store, and you're gonna be able to get a very decent one to grow. Oh yeah, Begonia Black Magic. Like there are always a lot of begonias in big box store. I've just been seeing a lot of big Black Magic popping up. This one is also known as Arabian Sunset. So I'm gonna call it Black Magic. That's what I know it as. And I had one before. It grew really beautifully, really big. And I sold that one. I also took some cuttings and made a baby little plant and gave it to my best friend. It's so easy to grow. It grows very fast, and it definitely does well in low light as well. Yeah, so that one has been sold in big box store for a while now, and every time I see them, they always come out in a huge batch, like a little army. So yeah, if you want one of those, go check out your local store, and they probably have it. And did I mention the price? $14.98 for 8-inch pot. That's a pretty big deal, because I think when I first got a Black Magic, I got it on Etsy as well, and for a tiny little plant like that, I grew it from this to this, okay? This to this. Oh, there's a very interesting plant that when I went to Home Depot one day, check out what I found. I could not believe my eyes when I found this one. Like, are you kidding me? Have they always been carrying this one, or is it just because I don't go to Home Depot and I didn't know? Or is my mic still on? Yes, it's on. Or am I being just like lucky? And I happen to see this because I've only seen it once. Since that day, I went back to other Home Depot. They don't have it. I think whoever snatched those ones know how rare it is to find them in your local big box store. Or is this gonna become a thing? Like they're gonna start showing up, which great, because I think this is a great plant. Did I mention what it's called? I'm hesitant to mention the name because I'm very bad at pronouncing the name. Let me pull up my app, Planty. I am not sponsored. I am not that important for anybody to sponsor yet, but I would love to be. So yeah, this one is called Palleonia pulchra. It's also known as Polynesian ivy. And it looks kind of like little watermelons. Like it has these kind of watermelon patterns on them, and it is velvety. So you see a pattern here, dark leaf, velvety. I like that kind of plant. And this one was being sold for like $5 or something. I believe I have, okay, I probably got 3 of these. I potted them all together. It might look small now, but I took some cuttings already. Probably, you know, see if I can pot some cuttings back into the pot to make it fuller, because I really like this. The first time I saw this plant was on Good Growing, Emma's channel, and I saw her mentioning this plant, and she was talking about how she always gives cuttings to people because she wants people to own this awesome plant. And I'm like, yes, I know what you're talking about now. I've seen it in person. I found this one in Home Depot, and I was just like, what just happened? Like, what the fungus net just happened? You know, like, what? I haven't looked up the price recently. I think I should. Should I? Yeah, I should look up the price, like see how much it costs online right now. Palleonia pulchra. 2.5 inch pot is being sold for like $5.59. Okay, it's not expensive. However, $6 shipping. You have to always count shipping, right? I feel like this was still a pretty good deal. I think for the 3 plants I got, it was like $15, and I made it into this 5-inch pot with a lot of cuttings, so that's still cheaper, especially if you include the shipping on that. So a very exciting find. I think that's all the plants I'm going to talk about today. I just want to say that I really do appreciate every one of you that stopped by to watch my video, because I know there are just so many more great content out there about plants. Because at the end of the day, who am I? Why should you watch me? But you decided to stay, so I need to say thank you. Thank you so much for staying here and watch my content, and I will try my best to keep you from getting bored. Okay, maybe we can do this. That would be fun. Tell me what's the rarest plant that you found in your local big box store. Leave it down in the comment below, and please definitely do leave the comment, because I already don't have that many people watching my video. If you don't leave the comment, I'm gonna look like an idiot for asking this question. Okay, is that the deal? That will be the end of the video. I'm so glad I get to film finally. I wasn't actually gonna pick up the camera tonight, but I'm glad I did. It made me feel so much better to do this, and being around my plants, talk about my plant, and actually I really enjoy the editing part. So now I have footage to edit. Okay, I'm gonna see you next time. Bye-bye. And don't forget to subscribe.